Hi and welcome. Peter Bourne here again, and we're looking at number 5 in this series of 7. Number 5 here is about Joe Biden. Now, what I'm going to show you is how I do an assessment of anybody's name. It doesn't matter who it is. In this case here, Joe Biden's full name is Joseph Robinette Biden. So this video, therefore, is about Joe Biden's past, his future, his present events that are going on in his life right now, and what he's like as a person. Is he capable of certain things, one way or the other? Let's put it as a balance of positive and negative, and we can look at both sides of that. Now, a person always reveals themselves over time. How often is it you that you've met somebody for the first time? Hi, how are you? You know, great to meet you. New member of the team, and after 3 or 4 weeks you start to realize the person's not quite the way you thought they were at that first meeting. This is where this comes in, and as long as I have their birth date and their full name that I can acquire, or even part of their name, like first name, last name, Joseph Biden or Joe Biden, I'm able to ascertain what that person's like, positive or negative. So in this case here, I'm picking on this particular point because in the month of December, Joe Biden has been depicted as having a cough or an incessant cough. You know, the COVID potential cough, but it's just a cold. No, I don't need to be checked, it's just a cold. Well, what's the difference with everybody else then? You've got a cough, you've got a fever, you've got an itchy throat, see a doctor, get tested. Get the jab in a minute. So I'm going to look at that because what condition he's in right now, and from what I've been able to ascertain about his activity levels, I don't think he's a well man. In fact, just because his age is where it is at, I think how old is he now? He's born in 1942. He represents around about 78 years of age now. So he's getting on. And all the stuff I've seen him running down, g'day and hi, I'm Joe, in front of a crowd of people. All well and good, but it's kind of like, you're overdoing it, man. Calm down, don't have a heart attack, you know. So let's have a look at him. Now, I've written his name out in full. His name he was given at birth as far as I'm able to ascertain. And using my little key code here, I can see up here that the letter J, for example, here, which is in that front middle row, is the 10th letter of the alphabet. So each of the letters has a specific function, a meaning, a background, a history, and a shape, which identifies its value. So literology, which is what I have developed over the years now, literology is the understanding of the letters and how they affect us from a subconscious level, and this video will come out telling you how the brain works, which ties up with this, which proves that we now have a tool, a science, that says your name and your birth date have a great governance over your life. And that is why I can make a claim. If your name is David, or you know anyone called David, and they are 27 years of age or older, every one of them, everywhere, at age 27, had a major change in their life or their living conditions. At age 49, have a change in their life or their living conditions. And at age 71, also will have a big change in their life or their living conditions. How's this? Because observation over 200,000 people, 280,000 people I've looked at and case studied over the years, and companies and all sorts of things. And every David has the same matter happen at the same time, the same kind of event. Oh, that's when I shifted countries. Oh, that's when I got married. Or that's when I got divorced. Or that's when I had my first kitty. Did it change your life or your living conditions? Hell yeah. A great person, David Attenborough, the naturalist who does a lot of film work and does some really good work around the country, or around the world actually. David, when he was 71, had a big change in his life and living conditions also. His wife died. Now that's pretty impacting. So ask a David, and if this comes up and it's right, you can see I'm not fooling you. It's forming a science. So let's look at this guy. Joseph, his name, using these numbers, which came from that chart there, reduce to 28. If you add them up, 28 reduces to 10, 2 plus 8 is 10, 1 and 0 equals 1. And I've done that the same with the rest of the name. When I teach this subject, I spend a lot of time on the first name. It's the most important name you have from the time that you were born. Then you develop soon after your called name, Joseph Biden. And those numbers there again can be taken from the chart, reduces to 25 and down to 7. Now, if I get Joseph's number 1 first name and Joseph's surname, which is number 7, and I add them together, 1 plus 7, in this box I put the number 8. Now the reason I put 8 there is, that's what people know him as, Joe Biden, Joseph Biden. But his whole name includes this one in the middle, Robinette, and it comes to the number 9. So 1 plus 9 is 10 and 7 equals 17, which is 8. This is who he is. This is his personality. And when you look at the values of these numbers and what they represent, where they're found, represents what is like is his whole life. What kind of a person is he? And an 8 person is a bit tough, a bit strong, very reserved. You will never see what's going on inside of them because they've got such a good skill at covering it up. They don't get moved too much. But if you push them too hard, then they can erupt. So this subject is huge. It's not just about numbers, because numerology is not about numbers. It's not. That's a language. All numbers are a language, as are all letters a language. But you don't think about the letters when you're speaking, yet you're using them all. You don't think about the numbers unless you say, oh, what's the time? Oh, it's 10:30, 11:30. Whatever the time might be, you're using numbers and words together. So they're both languages. Bring them together and your brains are programmed that way. And that's what I've been studying, the combination of these two, which is called literology. The study of letters. Now, I don't want to wander too much off the track here, but he's born on the November the 20th. Now, in New Zealand, where I come from, it would be the 20th of November, but I'm doing this because of the audience that would know Joe Biden is in America. So here he is coughing. What would cause that? Well, I've got this thing here in my level 2 training area when I talk about time, and in this particular case here, we're looking at the present, and the present is right here for him. Yes, it is. That's 2020. The year 2020 is right there, those 3 numbers in a column, as long as you understand what they mean. In this case here, I've got some numbers circled in red and boxed up, and I'm going to show you why. 11, 13 and 16. Particular numbers in a particular pattern can be quite negative. They can be quite challenging. 11, for example, will tell you and relate to the word death, which means to decay. That adds to 11. So death and decay. 13 is accidental, you just make mistakes, and 16 is usually when you get a lesson learned. A love lesson, a life lesson, just a mistake, or even a health lesson, even a heart problem. So here we have all these things coming together. This is how Joe is feeling up to this particular point in time. This is 2019, 18, 17 and 16 in their respective columns. And in 2019 we had a 13, in 2018 and 17 and 11 and another 13. 8 plus 5 is 13. 5 plus 6 is 11. 6 and 7 is 13. Has he had a good time or an easy time? No, because the year before that, when the election was lost by Clinton, won by Trump, this is where you might say they were starting to work on how the hell they could make this guy become president. And here we are now at this particular point in time. Why I've circled the 8 here is because the month that he's born in and the day that he's born on never changes. It's always the same. What does change is the year. He was born in 1942. We've now got him at 2020. So we can add his birth date, 2 and 2 is 4. We add that to 2020, which is also a 4. So 4 plus 4 equals 8. And that's where that 8 comes from. Next year it'll move over 1 to this particular point here. And look what I've got here. 4 and 9 is 13. This lot here in this particular pattern represents pressure. A lot of pressure. Emotional pressure. Another ugly thing about this particular part of his life right now, he is in this 8 personal year of his own. It's a personal year. When you add 8 to the month of December, December is a 12th month of the year. 1 plus 2 is 3. We add that 3 to his 8. 8 and 3 is 11. 11 is that sickly number. And he developed a cough. Does that mean he's going to overcome things? Because of his age, because of the pressure he's under, and because I believe of his mental decay, he is in fact having problems. I've heard him speaking on the media feeds. He calls the wrong president by the wrong name, which is pretty dumb, which means he's got a problem, on my view, mentally. Can I provide evidence of that? Yeah, next year here, this is dire straits for him. As he hits that grand age of 79, he's hitting age 79 next year. Let's have a look at that. 79. What does 7 plus 9 equal? 16. What does 16 equal? This one here I mentioned, ill health or heart attack. He's heading for a crash. Now the potential for that would be well known, even by his own team. If that happens, who will take over? Well, Kamala. Kamala, I think her name is, Kamala Harris. Now, if she takes over, maybe that was designed. Maybe that's what this is all about. Who's going to tell us the truth? It doesn't matter, but what does matter is you cannot hide from this. No matter what people say behind the doors and out in front of the public, you can't hide a person's name and their birth date. Once that's out, you've now got their program, and from that, you can see where they're going. So, for where he's at right now, and these numbers up on the board here, what I do have, just to show you, that's his first name. That means he likes to be his own boss, his own leader. That's the same thing happens with the first letter of his name. When you look at Joseph Robinette Biden, his whole name comes to 8. That also works out with that word there, lie, 3, 9 and 5. Up here, 3 for L, 9 for I, and 5 for E. 3 and 9 is 12 and 5 is 17, which equals 8. That means he's able to lie. It doesn't mean he's a liar. It means he's able to lie. You go and make your own judgment. So this is his personality type. Up here is what drives him. This is literally what would motivate him all the time. This 5 and this 7, what do they represent? 5 is the freedom to do what I want to do. The 7 is I like quality. I like the best. So I want to be free to get the best. And because I've got the authority to do it, I'll use power to do it. That's what that represents when I'm reading this. What this represents up here is, this is his day of birth, which is very, very important. 2 and 0 comes back and ties up with a reduction to 2. 11 reduces to 2. This whole birth date, 2 plus 2 is 4 and 7 is 11, which reduces to 2. Number 2 here is an 11. 11 is a dangerous number if it's used wrong. It really, really is. So, in my view, Joe Biden's future is looking extremely grim. Between November, December, January and February, this guy's heading for a real down, a fall, as it were. And I would say potentially by, not potentially, I'll tell you for sure, put on the extended eye vision tool. You get this when you get a bit older. Next year, not looking good for him in the months of February, especially April, May. In fact, the whole year is pretty tough. I don't see him having an easy time from this point on. So anyway, that's it for this particular lesson. If you'd like to get hold of me, it's petervaughan.net with my thing here. In fact, I'll probably put up on screen petervaughan.net up here. .net, and you can get hold of me that way. I do conduct courses, I do training online, and I also do personal consultations with people online. And I had an idea this morning. I just thought, if you ever wanted me to, when I'm doing a subject and you'd like your particular chart looked at, and I can do a video of that and pop it out, I can put it on the bottom of the board here and give you a rundown on what your life is like in a constructive and a positive sense, not negative. Everybody is positive, or has the capability of it, and you can swing from a 2% positive to a 98% positive, because at the moment mankind's got it mucked up. Most people are negative. 98% of people fail. That means 2% seem to lead or win. You can convert that, change them over. Like to know how? Get hold of me. I'm going to be doing a lesson after I've finished the 7 set, which I've got 2 more to come out after this. I'll be doing one on how the brain functions with this stuff to show you how it actually works. No one's done this. If you want to learn some of it, it's not too bad. Each course is broken up into 3 courses, and you can learn a lot for a lot less than some other courses out there, a lot less. Peter Vaughan here, signing out for this session, and thanks for watching. Do share it. Catch you later.